All right, welcome everyone. This is the Viper Professional Training and Support webinar. Today's date is October 22nd, 2018. This is a Monday night webinar, and the title of tonight's webinar is Taking Deeper Retrace and Phantoms. And as everyone knows that's been to our webinars or our live trading room, everything that we say and do at Viper Trading Systems is for educational purposes only. Futures trading, Forex trading, any kind of financial instruments trading involves risk, therefore there's always risk of loss. You should only trade discretionary capital, and that is money that you can afford to lose. Nothing said in this webinar. Other webinars we have, our live trading room, or anything else with Viper Trading Systems should never be construed as trading or investment advice. And as always, everyone does trade at their own sole discretion. Any questions on the disclaimer? If not, we're going to go ahead and get started. All right, real quick, what I want to go over, and I'm not going to call out any names or anything like that, but I do want to get your feedback, okay? What we're going to do, bear with me a second. I lost the attendee log for some reason. Where did it go? There it is. All right, bear with me 1 second. One more second. All right, had to get not only the question log set up, but the attendee log, okay? Because what I want to ask real quick, because I want to really know, I've talked to some people, here and there that struggle, that'll be newer people. A lot of our, veterans, so to speak, have got this pretty much down pat. I don't even see a lot of them in some of the webinars and everything because they already know the system and they trade it just like we teach it. But I'm going to give a question here real quick. Does anybody know what I'm talking about when I say identified swing? Anybody? Because an identified swing is super, super important. And I got off some phone calls earlier. I've been on a Skype call with the programmer just the last few minutes. I'm going to talk to him again in another hour. We're trying to get the new OT for 8 ready to go. Okay, and that's still at least a month and a half out, I'm sure, because it'll take a while to program it. We're in the design stage right now. But anyway, what I want to ask real quick, and I'm not going to single anybody out, I never do that, but I want to know on this trend, first off, what's the direction of the trend? That's, that's practically a no-brainer, but real quick, right? Okay, everybody's saying down. I don't see anybody that's saying up. Now, what I want to know is on this chart, there are 2 identified swings. What's their numbers? Anybody? I know Charles does a little bit more testing and stuff like that. I want to just get an idea. And like I said, I will not, single anybody out. If you get it wrong, by identified swing, Raymond, what we'll get the numbers first, and then I'm going to go over them with you, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. By the way, that's not singling Raymond out. Raymond's new with us, and that's not singling him out at all. He just asked a question. All right, so I have 2762.50 and 2759.50. I got 2762.50 and 2753. I got 2762.50 and 2758.50. And I've got 2762.50, 2759.50. And I got a whole bunch of them that are saying the 2762.50 and the 2759.50. And that is exactly right. Okay, now what I mean by identified swings, and this is important to catch, and I'm going to take a few minutes because, it won't take as long to talk about some of these deeper retracements and teaching you how to do those. We call those in the room every day. But what everybody needs to know is, and an identified swing is super important, okay? Because if you get on the wrong side of it, you're going to get on the wrong side of the trade. Okay, unless you're a scalper. Now, if you can scalp and you can get 4, 5, 6 ticks, You know, you can do that all day long just with these little bips and stuff. You know, that's fine too. But what everybody said was that this is the identified swing right here. Okay, and that is correct. And this is the other one, and that is also correct. Now, why is it not this one? And somebody else even said this one. Okay, now when you're in a short, your identified swing is going to be the upper swing. You know, in other words, if you're in a short, you got a low, a lower high, lower low, lower high. Is that a lower low than this? And the answer is no, right? But why is this the identified swing? Anybody? Because it took out the low. I mean, that's fairly basic, but keep in mind that if you don't know this and you're getting on the wrong side of these and you don't know where the identified swing is, it is super important to know that these are your two identified swings right here. Now, why is this not identified? Well, technically, it's identified to the upside, but only on the shorter term, because here's your swing that's identified. Always look to the left. I stress this all the time. Always look to the left to trade the right. Okay? Because when you have a swing here, and it takes out this swing over here to the left, this is an identified swing. Okay? The blue number, David, on your question, that's actually going off of a little bit more guidance with a 12 range chart. That's lightning 4. Okay, lightning 4 is power meter 4. Okay, this webinar is basically to go over taking deeper retrace, but mainly the reason I wanted to go over this is because until everybody gets it, I'd rather camp here for just a little bit, because if you're not seeing the identified swings, you're probably getting whacked around in the markets. You know, and you don't want to get whacked around in the markets. Now, I'm not even showing some of our indicators on here right now. We're just simply looking at swings. But if anybody doesn't know why these are not, these are the only two downward identified swings, and this is not an upward identified swing as of yet, except in the small term. See how it took this swing out? You've got a low, you've got a high, you've got a higher low because it took this swing out. But look to the left and it didn't take this swing out. So is this a lower high than this? And is this a lower low than this? And the answer is yes. Okay. Let's see, but why do identified swings work? How do you use them? Stop and retrace. That's absolutely what's going to be taught tonight too, because you can clearly see in that room that we teach, you know, we get these trades pretty spot on every single day, you know, where we can get in. Now, we've got some other trades that I'm not going to teach as much tonight, you know, as I am the deeper retracements, but we are going to talk about other retrace trades too. But it is so super important to realize that, you know, when you're trading and you're doing this, even though you do a little ABC up, it did not take out this left-hand swing. So this is not a higher high than this one. So therefore you're still heading down, right? Okay. But the most important thing is to identify the actual swing. Okay. Because the actual swing is right here. And the actual swing is right here, identified swing. Super, super important. I'll tell you, if you can learn to see these, that'll develop that third eye, and you're going to be able to see those trades on your charts a lot better than other traders do. Okay, because lots of them are using, you know, all kinds of indicators and things like that, but they're not really seeing the trades. They're relying on indicators, and then they're putting 6 and 7 tick stops when they're getting in late. Okay, and you want to get in at exactly the right spot if you're going to put a tight stop on a trade, you know, because if you miss that entry, then you're going to have a deep stop. So should we start making sure we identify the identified swings? I would, on your question, I would actually learn to see these identified swings till I went to bed at night and saw them in my sleep. Because if you want to make money in trading, it eliminates the noise. It gets you into the right part of the trade. You know, because I can tell by looking at this chart right now, Okay, right this very moment, I can tell where I would change to an uptrend. Can you? Anybody? Getting caught up in the noise can hurt too. Yeah, getting caught up in noise can hurt. Okay, so if this is my identified swing right here, let's just draw a line. You know, this one's past now, but this is my left hand identified swing. This is my right hand identified swing. Okay, I draw my line on my chart, and I'm just going to go ahead and draw like a seashell color. And then you can clearly see that this is also my identified swing right here. Everybody see that? Now, what would it take to change trends on this chart if it happened? Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if this was to change trends, what would I actually expect? It's going to do a lot of zigzagging around. You know, it might even do something like this and then, you know, start kind of zigzagging up. But is this actually, you know, a trend change to the upside even as I'm speaking now? Now, keep in mind, this is not, sorry about that. This is not what is happening on the chart. This is what I'm seeing in my mind that I'm looking for to happen. Now, of course, you can clearly see over here that this is changing trends on my small lightning, right? Even though I'm drawing it manually, this is the way it really happens in real time, okay? So when would this actually be to where this would actually be breaking what we call our identified swing on the left? Let's say it did this right here and then it rolled over. Would this be any kind of a long trade, or would we be looking for something like this where it actually broke and we could box it in and it would head back down? That would be a rollover trade, right? But what if it broke this? Let's just take this off for the fun of it. Let's just say it did something like this instead. Now, the reason I'm teaching this a little hypothetically here is because we know where this is going to change trends if it changes trends. It would break identified swing. It might even break it enough to actually take out even this swing over here to the left. Okay. Now, when would this trend change happen on this particular chart? Well, technically, in the smaller side, you can actually trade these by scalping, but what we're going to talk about tonight is sticking with the trend and deeper retracements and also regular retracements. Okay, so if I was trading this and I saw this, let's say I got up at, I don't know, this is 8:30 at night, something like that. This is where I would be looking for my trade. Does everybody see that? And why would I be looking for my trade there? Because it's breaking the identified swing over on the left side. In other words, it would be heading back up. Okay. Now, does that mean that, you know, if this was to do something and I saw this happening in real time and maybe this took out resistance and I could draw a trend line or something and actually get in the trade earlier? Sure, you could. Okay. Because this might even be something to where you're seeing it actually break resistance, you know, and just pop up, or you might be seeing a green stealth or something like that. But this does not change trends, actual trends, until it starts stair-stepping the other way from your identified swing. Okay? Now let's look at it and see if we're right on that or what it's going to actually do on our chart. Bear with me a second. Let's just go to our chart. All right. Now this is what our actual chart looks like right now. Okay? This is the exact same chart that I just drew just a second ago. Let me just show you real quick. We'll draw the lightning 3. Okay? And let's just draw it from even higher, because we did draw it from higher, I think. Pretty sure we did. Let's draw it from way up here, just so you can see that this is absolutely, no question about it, a downtrend, right? At least right now. Okay, now, if this does not take this out right here, my identified swing, and I get a rollover, could I short this? Anybody? And the answer is yes, right? Because this would be a deep probe. Now, what if it takes this out, though, and it decides to come back and kiss this area right here? Would it then be a downtrend any longer? See, this one pretty much double bottomed, although you did get a little bit of a higher low. I don't consider that a higher low when it's just like literally one tick, so I consider that a double bottom. Now, there's a lot of traders that'll box this in or, draw a trend line and, they'd be long on this thing from here, the moment it broke that little swing. We're not going to talk about that trade today because I take that kind of trade myself too a lot of times. Okay. But what you've got to do is get in the habit to where you can actually see, when a trend actually does change. Let's just give an example. Let's just go ahead and we feel that the trend is down right now, right? Okay. So if you were to draw a region on here with a downtrend, you'd basically draw it like underneath the mid band, right? And you wouldn't really be taking a long trade here except for the fact that you might be boxing this in. But if it goes against you at all, you would get out of it very quickly. Everybody see what I'm talking about? So if I did box this in both ways, all right, then I would expect this to pretty much stay out of this box, take out this swing and head up, and more than likely probably even get a green background, come back and kiss, and then take off. Or it's going to break this and head down. Now, something else you want to get in the habit of looking at on these charts, green stealth, green stealth. That happens quite often when they're going to change. Okay, because it's kind of warning you here. See, you had a low, high, higher, low, higher, high. So that's actually, was trying to break up at that time, but it couldn't, and it rolled over. Okay, which we would have caught that trade if we would have been trading at 641 last night. Okay, you would have boxed it in and got the trade. So everybody see what we're talking about boxing this in? Okay, because see, I'm seeing right here, I've got support. See this little thrust, retrace thrust? I've got support right in through here, like so. You can clearly see it. All right, so if it did break that support, I might want to go ahead and short this, but I don't want to just get, like wicked into a trade. So a lot of times what I will do is if I've got a little box like this that's pretty tight, I'll take it under it by like a half a bar at least, and then put my region, for instance, on like, touch +2 or something like that. Always look to the left. You can see a swing right here too, and you think, wow, maybe I want to break that actually too, because that's a lightning 3 swing. So I might want to draw my box like this. See the swing? Okay. So let's go ahead and see what this did, and we'll see if boxing it in works out. Just bear with it a moment and we'll see. Now this is what we call boxing in at mid-band, okay? This will get you into a trade earlier if this happens to actually break up. There's touch +1. It didn't get us in just yet. See? That's why I like that touch +2. There's a little higher low, by the way. Everybody see that? Little higher low? But it hadn't had a higher high yet, has it? So let's just see if something does fire. If it does, I'm going to be very, very cautious with my trade. Where would I put my stop? Anybody? Right underneath that wick. Okay? Now, if you look to the left to trade the right, you see that you've got a swing across here. I'd probably put one of my targets right in through here really quick. What is touch +2, David, on your question? Touch +2 simply means that you're going to touch the region to get a trade instead of closing. See, for instance, like, the way that we designed this object trader was that you can do touch, you can do touch plus, you can do close and close plus. Okay, I'd put my stop right underneath here right now. Not a bad little trade, right? Not a bad little trade, by the way. If you did 2 contracts, you'd be up a little bit, right? You could even put your stop underneath here. Let your runner run if you wanted to. Look to the left to trade the right. I like to see where the next swing is. There's a swing right across here, even right there. And then I usually turn on my power meter, or you can use line 6 either way. Okay? Line 6, if you start getting, for instance, where this is actually heading up and you want to use line 6 as your stop, you just simply set it for line 6, trail enabled, engage your trail, and it'll bring it right up there to line 6. Okay? That's a tight stop, by the way. But it's also a stop that'll keep you from giving a bunch of your money back. And the only time I use that one, by the way, right off, this looks like it may get us. See, it's actually changing power meter. But we'll leave it. That's fine. But does anybody see the next trade on this chart? Anybody at all? Anybody see it? You got to be able to see it. Where would you draw on your chart? Anybody? What's to the left over here? Let's just pretend you weren't even in a trade right now, okay? Let's just kill this. Where's the next trade on this chart? Looking to the left to trade the right. You have now broken our identified swing, okay? So I'm going to tell you that more than likely that your trade's going to be right in this area right here. Mid-band's a little lower. So what I would be doing more than likely would be bringing my little box up here, like so. And if it gets within 2 ticks of the top of that box, I'd probably fire a trade. Okay? Because that's support, and I'm looking for a support bounce. Now, keep in mind we've gone 22 minutes on this, and we haven't talked about the phantom type trade as of yet. Now, here's another trade you can also look for, by the way, and that is your where you come back to line 6, you got to close below stealth, which it did. Now, I personally like a 4-range chart when I do that myself. And let's just go ahead and do it this way instead. Because just in case it breaks our resistance, we'll go ahead and take it. And we'll also take it if it comes back and checks that swing. Let's see, so when it gets within 2 ticks of the box, the trade will enter. Absolutely, David. The way I had this designed with our programmer was this box is actually, geometrically on your chart, it knows exactly where those prices are when you draw your box. So we've told it that we have like what we call touch and touch plus. Now that should have, that won't fire either. Got to put it on long inside. Then I'd put that there. Are we going to get that one? Probably not. We just missed it. I forgot to turn on the B button. We'll get it the other way though. That'd be fine too. Or we may still get it that way. If it comes within 2 ticks of the bottom of that box, it will fire. Didn't come within 2 ticks. Now it'll fire outside the box instead. Okay, now when I talk about what we call a deep retracement trade, does everybody know what I'm talking about on that? When we're talking about a deep retracement trade, we're talking about deeper than mid-band. Okay, now I'd probably protect my coin on this particular trade. See how you've got a swing up there at the top? Everybody see that? That's what you want to at least put one of your contracts at. I'm going to go ahead and add one more. And we're going to put one of them right here. And we'll let a runner run, and we'll see if we can get up to our next identified swing on the chart. Which is like right there. Okay, that's if I just want to simply go for the identified swings. If it went against you, where would you get out, Toby, on your question? Well, what I would do in a case like this, to give an example, see this bounced right off of my identified swing. So I would put my stop just under that identified swing. Now I would not reverse it or anything like that if it happened to tag down and take me out. Okay. But usually you want to take some coin, on at least a scalp. See, we need to take some coin now, but we do have a swing right here that's identified now on our smaller side of our chart. See the little thrust, retrace, thrust? So you could put your stop right underneath there. And that would be with like an exit on close. Like so, like so. Okay? That way, if it doesn't take us out, then, we'll stick with this trade. And if it does take us out, then so be it. It may take us out. That's fine. Okay? It took us out. Now, where have we got another trade on this chart? Anybody? Well, you've actually got a trade on this chart right here they haven't checked. And you've still got one right here that they've also checked. And I would put a box down here at mid-band. And I would put a box, just in case it bounces here, I'd put a box as it comes up. If it bounces off support, see, because you've got a clearly level of support. If it doesn't, go ahead and do thrust, retrace, thrust, and come down further. Okay? Something like that. See how it's trying to bounce off support again? See if we can get a little trade. Now notice that I have also a trade here if it happens to come down a little bit. Okay, it's not touch plus 2 just yet. It's got to do 2 plus 1. Now that it did that, guess what you can do? You can actually box it in. Okay, see how it gave a little candle to the upside there? Just box it like that. Now, usually what I do, if I see something like this happening and I see this bar bounce at all, I'll probably go with one contract. Or you can box it and be safer like this. This should actually fire, but it did just then. All right, put your stop just underneath the swing, and you should be set on that trade. Okay? Now, this is what we call our minor retracement trade. But why did it minor retrace instead of deep retrace? Anybody? Anybody at all on that? Because that was clearly support that we drew on our chart ahead of time. Let's see. Oh, Mindy, we can fix that. Your chart went back to 4 range. It's just that you didn't save your workspace. I'll show you how to fix that. Okay, does everybody see we got us a nice little trade so far? All right, we're going to go ahead and move our target if we can get it out of the way. And where can we go ahead and put our stop on this? You got a swing right here, just a little bit under 6. So let's use 6. And we'll trail it back just a little bit. Is that trail? Nope, trailing it the other way. There we go. 3 ticks underneath line 6. Because see, you've got a little swing right here that they may check. And that's pretty close. I'm going to do it 4. And engage. There we go. Reason for that is because it shouldn't actually come on top of this little swing and close the bar. Okay? Now, where would we get a deeper retracement trade? Anybody? I want to show you a little trick to deeper retracement trades tonight. Because if you actually will learn to see that a deep retracement trade really needs to stay with your lightning in the right direction, your lightning 3, you're not going to get faked out on these moves near as often. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Let's just kill this trade. I don't care about it. I want to teach tonight. We don't care if we know how to trade because we know how to trade. All right. Could you more than likely have a phantom down here, yes or no? And the answer is no. Why? Anybody? Why could you more than likely not have a phantom at that spot? And I'll show you why. Let's go ahead and do lightning 2. All right, there's our lightning 2. Now, wasn't Phantom down in this area right here? And isn't this what we consider to be a trend change if it breaks it? It would be taking out support, wouldn't it? And it would be taking out our lightning 3 support. Lightning 3 is critical to your trading. I can promise you that. It will make a difference in whether you make money every day or you end up like, well, some people, for instance, and you end up giving some back at the open and things like that. Oh, I drew that manually. No wonder that's staying there. Let me get rid of it. All right. Now, remember, our Phantom was down here. I'm going to go ahead and draw it on my chart. We'll go ahead and put power trend on our chart. Okay, and I'll go ahead and apply it. All right, and we'll get rid of the predictor because we don't care about that as much. And we're going to draw it again, okay? We're going to draw it again. Hopefully we can draw it. All right. So, are we in an uptrend, anybody, or not? Well, we clearly took some long trades, so we are, right? Notice how this came right down and checked that support. Now, do they always check it to the tick? No, and I usually draw 2 places on my chart, looking to the left to trade the right, and I look at any of the lightning 3 swings like this. So this would have been my little sweet spot in real time for my trade, okay, because I'd be looking for it to kiss here or here, because that should hold as support. Okay, well, what did hold as support was this one. See it right there? And it bounced up. Okay, let's go ahead and draw lightning 2 on the chart so you can see this. Okay, now where's Phantom on this chart? Anybody? On this chart right here. Phantom is right here. Let's go over real quick. When you look at your lines on your chart on what we call the dynamic trend or the power trend, okay, you start with line 0, line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, there's 48 ticks between those, the top of this one and the bottom of this one, if you've got it set at the normal template. Okay, so if you were trading this and you said, okay, Gary always talks about a Phantom trade, so I'm going to take a Phantom trade. Would you take this trade when it takes out lightning 3? No. No, you wouldn't. But let's go ahead and just fast forward it and see if we can possibly get a Phantom trade that doesn't do that. I'm going to just fast forward this a little bit. Now see where Phantom is? Notice that we have lightning all the way down here on our lightning 3. And let's just see if we can get a Phantom type trade setting up on this chart. Okay, not yet. I mean, you know, it's still heading up so far, right? And that's fine with us. Let's just see if we can get a Phantom trade. Now watch numbers appear after a certain amount of time and movement. You'll see a number appear. If it happens to get enough movement and you get those 15 bars, we'll see if we get one under here. Maybe not. So far it's 27.59.50, right? No other numbers on the chart. Phantom's way up here. Let's watch for those numbers. Now keep in mind the number you're looking for is support, not resistance, right? We need a support to show up, and we'll see if we get one. Now that's a Phantom trade right there, by the way. Anybody see that? Why is this a Phantom trade? Anybody? Well, you have a thrust up, you have a retrace, identified swing only when it takes this out. So this is our identified swing as we go up here. So that's your bigger identified swing right there. Would this be a phantom type trade, yes or no? Let's look at the actual chart and let's see. Look at there. Is that a higher low than that one? So is that a phantom trade, anybody? And where would you put your stop? Well, you should have already been in it because you would actually pick line 2. Let's just see if we can get in it again. I don't know if we will or not. But what we'll do is we'll box it in if we have to. I think it already ran away from us. That's a good phantom trade, by the way. Good 10 ticks. Let's see if we get another opportunity at all, or this is going to head up and keep trucking. Oh, good. Okay. Getting a little retrace. What I like about equities, by the way, and you'll see this a lot, they'll tag line 2, and then for the people that have already taken profit and put their stops pretty tight, they'll go down and check line 1. Okay? So this is your trade setting up right here between 2 and 1. Okay? Now I'd be ready to take this thing if this even bounces out of here at all. Okay? Because it may just hit this area right here or here. But usually as a rule, they'll try to take out their previous swing and then they'll bounce it. But let's just see if they do. Hopefully I can catch it. We'll see. Form a little lightning so we can actually get a trade. There's a little lightning right there. Everybody see it? Now let me ask you a quick question on this. Would you go ahead and take this trade here, yes or no? Long, not short. How many of you have been getting whacked here and there because you might box in? Well, let's say that you boxed in, I don't know, like right here to give an example. And so you boxed it in. Did you even get much lower than here? No. So is this a change of a trend? So should you take that trade just because you boxed it in under mid-band? No, because your overall trend is up. Low, high, low, right? Higher, high, higher low, we know because it took this out. So is this our identified lightning 3 swing? So if this was to change trends, this is what I would expect it to do. It would have to break here. It would have to turn my background red. It would have to thrust and retrace and roll over. Okay? Now, if it did this, breaks this, and then comes back and kisses it, I'd short it in a heartbeat. Okay? But if it doesn't take this out right here to the left, which is my identified swing on the left, I'm still heading up. So, you know, I hear it all the time where somebody will say, you know, maybe they don't take those phantom type trades. Well, then that's their business if they don't want to. But keep in mind, I just went above line 2, so I'm going to take it willy-nilly. All right? I'm going to put my stop under line 0 for right now. Now, as soon as this starts stair-stepping up, I will change my stop. Okay? You don't have to leave your stop here forever. But I've found that if phantom is going to work, it will not take out line 0. Okay? Because if it did, guess what? It's taking out and changing backgrounds in the whole 9 yards. Okay? Now, if you don't want this risky of a trade, then do the little different one, you know, which you can absolutely do. Okay? You can do the different one. I'll show you how to do it. Let's say that you weren't in this trade at all yet. All right? Everybody see this little zigzagging down? Could you actually box it with a region. And let's see if I can get a little region like that, for instance. Okay. And also, I expect it more than likely to come down to line 1. So I'm going to take either trade. I can even put this on auto, by the way. And by putting it on auto, that means that it will actually fire as many times up until my max contracts if it keeps bouncing off this bottom. So you got to be careful with that. Okay. But let's just see what actually happened on this. This is a phantom trade. And if it goes against me, it goes against me. But I'm going to put my stop. Okay, there's my little trade. I'm in it. All right. And we're going to put our targets up here. Now keep in mind, I've got that auto on, so I want to probably turn that off when I start getting several contracts like that. Because I'm going to put my stop at line 0 still. Okay, let's just see if it works out. Now, granted, I'll be giving up a little bit of this trade because with 3 and 4 contracts on ES, that's $50 a tick. So I could easily give up $300 of this money very, very quickly. Okay? But I want to show you the effect of your first time phantom trade. This is giving me a little grief. Well, we'll see. Okay, it hit line 0. Did it take out my swing to the left? No, it did not take out my swing to the left. High or low. And where could I go ahead and put my stop as soon as I get a quote swing? Anybody? Well, I've got a quote swing right now. Right under here. Fade it back just a little bit. Fade it back just a little bit underneath that swing. And there you go. Yeah, and you can use the break-even feature on Object Trader 2, set it for like 10 ticks or 8 ticks or whatever. Yeah, you can do that also. What I was wanting to show you here, though, is the sheer beauty of phantom type trades on equities. Equities, as a rule, will do this right here. You're going to get a line 2 one, which we missed. That was easily 10 ticks. With 2 contracts, by the way, that's $250. Okay. What's this trade so far? Well, it's up a little bit. We're good. Okay. We could even put our stop. Not yet. There's our identified swing on the left. Now here we go. We're going to go up a little bit higher. See where my identified swing is? See the high, the low, the higher high? That's my identified swing on my Lightning 1. That's what I'm looking at right there. Okay. Now, if you want to get your, account to where it'll do wonders a lot of days, especially on our trade calls and our drawing on our charts and everything, this is definitely the way to trade it. Okay. Does anybody remember? I called a trade on Russell. I think roughly it was pretty close to the open of the market, wasn't it? Let's just fast forward to it and see if y'all can pick out the trade and why we picked out the trade there. We don't care about this. I'll just kill it. Let's go to a Russell chart real quick. And I'm going to fast forward, which will kill our P&L, by the way. We don't care because it's not real money right now, right? All right, I'm going to do a Russell chart. We're going to diagnose the chart. I'm going to start it at like 8 o'clock where we like to actually open the room each and every day. All right. And I'm going to fast forward this to that point. Bear with me a second. And let me fast forward it a little bit before I turn it off a pause. Just 1 sec. I'm going to fast forward it to where we actually open the room. Here we go. All right, what's the overall trend of this chart right now? Anybody? Well, let's see. Pretty much an uptrend, isn't it? So what are we looking for on a retracement? Anybody? Well, we've got support right here. Everybody sees that with Lightning 3. So let's draw a line. Everybody see that support right there? Okay. What would it take to change the actual trend on this chart as of this moment? And keep in mind, you have to go by identified swings. Okay, it's really important to do that. Let's see if we can get a trade. I'm going to go ahead and turn on Object Trader again. And we're going to see if we've diagnosed this chart properly. You're thinking, wow, you know, it could bounce off a mid-band. Well, it could bounce off a mid-band too. And keep in mind that if it hits mid-band, I would probably go ahead and jump in that trade, simply because that is also, you've got a high, you have a low, you have a higher high, you got your secondary swing down here. If you get a higher low than that secondary swing like here, then more than likely you could possibly get a quick trade. Everybody see how I diagnose that? Okay, so let's just see. We'll just test it and see. I'll do 10 ticks if it gets down to mid-band. Now that's what we call a medium retracement if it does that. Now remember, we're not thrust traders because I just fast forwarded this. So basically, what are we waiting on? Everybody that's been with us a while? We're waiting on a pullback. Everybody see why I'm moving this up? That's where my sweet spot is now. It was over there, but not anymore. Just got to get into my sweet spot. Don't want it to take out that swing to the left. Just trying to get 10 ticks. Going to protect my trade. And we'll see if this stays, and we'll put it on exit on close. Felt a little heat on it. Just right at support. I'd probably protect my stop now to just under mid-band if you see the little swing there. Well, we got our target, so we're good to go, right? Okay. Now that's what we call a minor retracement. And we got a trade, right? But where's our next retracement on this chart that they haven't checked yet? Well, they busted out of here, so I would draw a line. That's inside Phantom. I usually like to have Phantom between line 1 and 2. So this is a little sweet spot I'd be looking for. And the reason for that is because if they actually take out my Phantom, they're not going to be still heading up. Now, right now, we don't know where our Lightning 3 is except all the way down here, all right? But we may get one here pretty soon. We'll see. What will it? There it is. See it? See it right there? Now, is that an identified swing, yes or no? No. Because it hadn't taken out the top, right? Okay. So could we still take a Phantom trade if this does break this? Yes or no? And the answer is you can. Okay, because what are you looking for? Most times when you get this thrust, retrace, thrust, you're looking for an A, a B. See how that didn't take out the top so far? So you're more than likely going to get an A, a B, and a C. And I'd be looking for a trade right in this area, right down in this area, right in here, Phantom. Okay. And I'll guarantee you, if you actually get to the point where you watch for these Phantom type trades, you're going to see them more times than not. Look to the left to trade the right. Okay, we got a little red bar probe. Now, this is what we call a deep probe so far. Now, if you don't want to just take a trade willy-nilly, then the best way to do is to box it. Okay? Now, to box it means that I'm looking at breaking this little swing here. I see resistance over here to the left. So I would probably draw my box at least like that. Something like this. And I don't like to be faked into them, so I'd probably even engulf this candle to the left, and I'd turn this on. And I would also look for this trade right down here. And we'll move this box if this happens to give us a lower, like stair-stepping down, okay? Because when it does identify the swing, you can reposition your box. Okay, we haven't got that yet, so let's see if we do get it. And we need this turned on to long inside touch, plus like 2. But we designed Object Trader also to where you can manipulate this box in real time. So I'm going to do that. We'll see if we get a little break. We could also turn on Power Meter, by the way. Let's see if we get this trade. Looking for a phantom. Now, let me ask a quick question. If you would have shorted this instead of, and by the way, you could have shorted this one. There's no question about it because it did break Lightning 3. And that more than likely would turn into a little trade. But I'd be real careful as long as these phantoms are heading up. Okay? Because we're more than likely, see there, we just got it. And I'd probably turn that on to go out of the top of that box and try to get up in this area here. Now that is what we call a line 1 trade. And by the way, in the room this morning, I called that exact trade. Anybody remember it? If you traded it, you remember it because that was called in the room. Matter of fact, perfectly at that phantom trade. Those phantom trades can be very, very, very good trades. Now I'm going to fast forward this. We don't care about the price of everything. Well, we'll leave a trade on and let it go ahead and do its thing if you want to. See if we get a little trade. Now I'm going to put my stop under line 0 just in case. Let's see what this trade did. You got to be able to stand a little heat because they'll usually double tap them. See, it double tapped it. And it looks like we're good to go. If this will close above here, that is. There it did. I'd go ahead and protect my coin now. Turned out to be a pretty good little trade, didn't it? And we're flat. Unfortunately, I didn't get to move my target. You can clearly see you're heading up more than that, but that's okay. All right, so let's say that you missed this trade and you decide that you want to go ahead and get in anyway, okay? Look for the minimum criteria if it happens to do it. If you get taken out of a trade, where's our minimum criteria on this chart? You would have to break stealth. You would have to break line 6 with a close of a bar. So your trade's at least down in here. Okay, so could I get ready to take that trade if it happens to come down to stealth and break line 6? There, well, just missed it. Got it anyway with touch plus 2. Everybody see that? That's minimum criteria trade. I'm going to go ahead and tighten this just in case. Minimum criteria is simply if you miss a thrust and you get a little pullback. And remember, our pullback is line 6 and stealth. And on the short, it's line 2 and stealth. Okay, let's see. How did you set the bottom of the box? Line 1, Chuck? The way you do that is actually, let me just stop this for a second, because like I say, we don't care about the P&L or anything. I don't care how high it goes, because this is about teaching. The way you would set this box here, okay, remember at the time you had this little wicked candle, so you can always look to the left to trade the right. You see resistance right there at the top of that candle. And you also have resistance right here to the left, okay? You have support at Phantom because we like that line 1 trade. So the way you would do that in real time is you could actually be starting to set your box up. If you turn this on, that's the bottom of the box, okay? You don't have to take a short out of the bottom of the box. You can actually use the T button for the top of the box, the B button for the bottom of the box, and long inside means that all it has to do with this particular configuration right here is it has to touch within 2 ticks and tick back up 1 more tick. So what this would have done in real time would have been to have touched within 2 ticks, which you can see it did within 1. And the moment it bipped up to the 2 and then 1 more tick, it would have fired the trade. Okay. And then you can also even add to it if you want, like when it breaks, you know, like out of your little consolidation box, which it clearly did. Okay. But that's the way you can utilize this thing, you know, for some very, very good and powerful trading. Let's fast forward this and let's see what happens. And we're going to have to wrap this up pretty soon, but I want to see if anybody can catch the next trade. First off, where is the line on your chart that you could say this is no longer going to be heading up? Anybody? No longer going to be heading up. Well, right now it's right here, isn't it? And it's also right here on the left because you have a high, a low, and a higher high, but you also have this low here. So this is what it would take to break my support to be heading down. Everybody see that? Okay. So if it doesn't break that, is it actually heading down? Yes or no? No. But let's just play this forward and let's see what happened on these charts. And I want y'all to see if you can get you a trade. Okay, here's a mid-band trade. What do y'all think? Anybody? Well, that's breaking mid-band. Let's see if we can get lower. Where's support? Support's right there. We've got a phantom right there at line 2, don't we? See our support level right there? And we got support right under here. See that little swing? High, low, higher, high. So this would be a sweet spot for me. I don't expect it to go below 1, so I'm going to put my trade right in this little area right here. Bear with me a second. And we're going to go ahead and just stair step it down or fire the trade if it happens to go out the top, or we're going to position this accordingly. Touch +2, and there's your trade. That's another phantom trade. Phantom trades, as a rule, what you want to do is you want to try to get up to mid-band. All right, put your stop underneath the swing and see if you can get up to mid-band. Let's see if we can get it. We may not. It may take us out. We'll find out. Got a little trade, 10 ticks. Okay, so what do you do now? Well, you've got to wait to see where lightning is going to actually end up on your chart, don't you? So let's fast forward this a little bit and see if anybody else can grab a trade. I was hoping for a trend change, but we haven't gotten one. Ooh, we might be getting one. Hey, there's a red background. What are we looking for now, everyone? Mid-band is magenta. What do you think? Well, you could have shorted that. Absolutely. That broke support. But where's our trade on this chart? Anybody? Well, like all trades, you don't know exactly where it's at because here's resistance right here. All right. It also has a little swing right across here, like so. See the little thrust, retrace thrust. That's mid-band. You got a swing over here to the left, right here, and you got another swing right across here on the left. So I'd be probably more than likely looking for a trade right in this area right here to here, like so. And it's going to have to go inside that box before I turn this on. And this is a short now. So we're looking for short inside at the top, short outside at the bottom, and we're going to see if we can get a little trade. That was a good little predictor kiss, by the way. What do you think? Anybody? Well, just so you don't catch a missile Where would you box this in? Anybody? Let's see if we can figure it out. We got a high candle, low, high. So wouldn't your swing be pretty much right under here? See it? High, low, higher, high. That's your swing. All right. This is actually coming down a little bit too. So this more than likely, if this breaks this, now we didn't quite get up to line 6 yet anyway. We may still. Got resistance right here too where they broke down. See it to the left? We just got us a trade. Now that's a what we call a line pretty close to line 6, but you see why I diagnosed it like that, everybody? I had it on my chart the right way it should go and everything. Okay, now I want to ask one more question. Let's just kill this trade. I don't care about it. All right. What would it take to change this trend from short to long? Anybody? Thrust, retrace, thrust. Let's look at our little chart here. Whoops, we're on RTY, so let's change it to RTY. That's fine. Hopefully it'll change. There we go. All right, so let's get rid of the power trend. I don't really care about it right now. I want you to see the clarity of the trade that's on the chart. Okay, so far we're stair stepping down, right? So let's draw it. All right, so what would it take to take this to go long? 1555.50 on this side, that would be correct, but also right here too. See, because that's your low, that's your high, and that's a lower low. So that's your identified swing on the left right there. So if they take that out, then they would be heading up. If they don't take that out, they would be heading down. Everybody see that? High, low, lower, high, lower, low. Lightning 3. What would we be looking for if this doesn't take out 55 over here? We'd still be looking for shorts, right? Let's close out the region, and I'm going to fast forward this just to see. Let's just see if what we said holds true. That's your identified. Now this one's not identified yet, by the way, because it hadn't taken out this low. Everybody see that, right? That's important to see. See how it double bottomed so far? See how it's still triple bottoming? Still didn't take it out. Still did not take it out. Now remember, we got this little trade this morning on this long. Anybody remember it? We nailed it because we were watching this green stealth. First green stealth, second green stealth. You can box this in at mid-band, you got about a 20-tick trade. But is that a trend change yet? No. Because if you look at your chart over here, so far, this is all you've done. Let me just draw it. Identified swing on the left. Now, could you have taken this trade? Absolutely, because see, you had a higher low. Could you actually do a trend line and get that trade? We even called it in the room this morning. But do you remember where I drew that line on the chart this morning and said, be careful? Because until we take this out with a vengeance, we're not really heading up. I'll just fast forward this and you'll be able to see it. Could you box it? Right across here. Yep, see it? Broke down. Everybody see that? See how it kissed that line? Now, are you going to start identifying your swings on your charts so that you can stay on the right side of the trade? Now, keep in mind, like I said, You know, when this had a low, this had a high, this had a little bit lower low. If you broke this, yes, you could go long on that. And we did call that in the room this morning. But we looked to the left to trade the right, and we said that this was resistance. Be careful. And so what happened with the trade? It actually rolled over and got you a short. Okay? Everybody see that? Now let's look at the chart and see if we can see some phantom trades, and then we're going to wrap. All right, always look to the left to trade the right. You've got a swing right across here. That's what it would take to take this out to change trends. All right, let's just watch it and see what happens. See where that shorts? Everybody see that? I've got it going 500 times, so I can't catch it, but that's okay. Everybody see that? I drew it on the chart in real time. And did that actually take that out? And the answer is no. So could you be short on that trade? Yes. Absolutely, you could be short on that trade. So is anybody going to make this mistake from now on? Because I'll just put this on this right here, and I want y'all to watch it for just a few minutes. And let's just take, well, we'll leave Lightning 2 on. I want to just fast forward this. And you tell me when this chart decides to change trends. If it does, we'll find out. Not yet, right? Keep watching it. Hopefully I don't go too fast where I can't catch this. We're not going to trade it. I want to just show you where it, okay, there's 1547.40 again. Still heading down, right? Would you be buying longs or selling short? You'd be selling short. I'll show you where those are on the mid band. I'll bet you I know where they're at because we designed the scripts. I know where they're at. Watch Lightning 3. There's a new low. There's your high, right? Now we don't have another number yet, but it may be here. See how this did a thrust down, retrace thrust? It may be here when it actually sets up. You'll see it. There it is right there instead. See there? What would it take to change the trend on this chart? Anybody? You now have a high, a low, a lower high, and a lower low on Lightning 3. So if this breaks up above here, you'd be changing trends. If it doesn't break above there, you're not changing trends. Let's let it play for just a minute and see what happens. And then we're going to wrap. Now, when they're that close, I usually use the one, if they're within like just a few ticks like that, you could actually use either way. There you go. You just bust it up. Everybody see that? You busted up above that swing. But see, that wasn't your identified swing. See it? This is still your identified swing on the left. High, low, lower high, lower low. Low, high, higher low, higher high. It finally took this out. So what's the direction of your trend now? Anybody? And how many of you took that trade, by the way, when it actually happened? What would it take to take out this trend and change directions? Anybody? Same thing. Just draw your lines on your charts. Could you be taking this trade, yes or no? Mid-band. Your little line 6, close above. Line 6, close above. Everybody see that? There's your mid-band trade setting up. There it is. Right off my line. See there? So what would it take to change the trend on this chart right there, right? 1549.50 right now. You're going to see this in real time on your charts. Okay, now notice that it's pulling back a little bit, and that's okay. Right now our swing's right here. It's now here. See it? Now this is a little riskier because you've got a high, you've got a low, you've got a lower high. If they break this, you could actually get a phantom trade, or you could get a breakdown. See that? If you box it in, you got you a trade. Okay? I think that should be enough to kind of get everybody, I think, really on the right track of seeing these trades, because I can just tell you, you're going to see them continually. You know, where's your next trade on this chart? Draw your lines. Is there going to be a trade right up in here? Yes or no? Not yet. Well, I think I might have missed it. I like the ones at the mid-band better, though. There it is. See it right there at resistance? And could I actually... Now, keep in mind, if I do it more in the conservative way, I'd wait for it to break this little swing, which it just did. See there? It just broke it. And I could put my stop probably just right above this swing here to the left, like so, and be safe on my trade. Okay? That's exactly how you do this. So keep in mind when you're trading, always watch these lightning 3 swings. They're amazingly helpful on whether or not these trends are changing. See that breakdown right up there on lightning 3? You know, here's support over here to the left, though. Did it actually break it as of yet? Just barely. Just barely so far. What do you think? Will it bounce there? Possibility. It hadn't yet, though. Now what would it take to take this thing back up? Pretty much taking that out, wouldn't it? Or even this one over here, which is, this one's basically your identified swing. Not quite, though. It didn't take out the low. Pardon me. It did not take out the low. So you really don't have an identified swing except all the way up here for right now. But then when you don't see that, you want to look for these little lightning 2s. See how that's still breaking down? What would it take to change this trend to the upside? Anybody? You can draw it every single time. There's your low. See if we get a number. That looks like a phantom. Definitely broke up there, didn't it? Definitely broke up there. Could you have taken that trade? Absolutely. That was well, you can't see it on this chart as easily, but look at that. Line 6, close below stealth, up you go. Right above thrust, retrace, thrust, pulls right back into support, off you go. Just like we teach. So there's all kinds of trades on these charts, okay? We'll do this in real tomorrow. Thanks everybody for coming. I hope you enjoyed this. And just keep in mind, you know, there are 4 trends on your charts, but the 3 are the most important. And you've always got to know which side of the trade you want to be on, unless you're scalping at the time, okay? Scalping at the time, that's fine. You know, you can go ahead and scalp to your heart's content and more than likely make some good trades. But when you get these backgrounds, for instance, that change, you know, is this a phantom trade? Yes, 10 ticks. Is this a phantom trade? 10 ticks again. See what I mean? See how it just kissed that? So are those phantom trades? Those are perfect phantom trades. Changes trend directions, changes the other way. First time into line 6 to line 7. Pardon me. Yeah, line 6 to line 7, line 6 to line 7. Stop would have been at line 8. Okay, I've got this going way too fast to trade it, obviously, but that's fine. Okay, thanks everybody for coming. Hope you enjoyed it, and we will do this tomorrow in the room. Have a good one. Mindy, on your question from earlier, let me just show you real quick. Everybody can leave if they want, that's fine. But if you want to change your chart, be sure and go to your ES chart, go to your data series, change it to 2 range. Okay, once you change it to 2 range, be sure and save that as your workspace. Because if you save your workspace, it's going to remember it each time you open your chart. the beginning of the big short this morning on ES. Oh, ES had a phenomenal short this morning, David. On your question, wasn't it about 8:30ish, right in that area, that we had that monster short? Where would you have taken that trade? Anybody on ES? Well, let's look at it just real quick. Okay, you had a lightning swing right across here. You got a lower high. Now, you got to look for lower highs too, because this was actually breaking down when it took this out right here. It kissed it and it rolled over. That's where the trade was called this morning. And it was a monster short too. Okay? All right, we'll see everybody in the morning. Thanks again.